the second element to prove defamation is that the words refer to the plaintiff. Now, when we talk about the words refer to the plaintiff, the plaintiff must prove that the defendant's words are referring to him. Now, in order to prove that the defendant's words refer to him, we have to look at this test. Okay, this test was laid down in the case of David Syme and Canavan, whereby the court says that the test being are the words such as reasonably in the circumstances would lead persons acquainted with the plaintiff believe that he was the person referred to. So basically, when there were some words which is defamatory, and the persons actually knew that is they are referring to the plaintiff, so basically they have actually satisfied this test. Now, other than that, only the person defamed can bring action, okay, in defamation. A person's reputation dies with him. So, next of kin cannot institute proceedings on behalf of the deceased. Okay, now look at this case, Atik bin Ali and Josephine Doris Nunes. Now, defendant claimed for breach of promise to marry against Datuk Rahim Tamici. Defendant then did not pursue her claim after raid had been filed. However, newspaper found out about the raid and published the matter. Okay. Now, plaintiff and all UMNO members of Alai Melaka claim that as a result of that publication, the members of PAS Wanita UMNO avoided them on the basis that they, the plaintiff, supported an adulterer. So, court held that the word UMNO did not appear on the raid. Okay. Now, if any party was defamed, it was Datuk Rahim Tamici, and only he could take action, but not UMNO members. Okay. Now, even if a plaintiff is not named in the words, he may be described as so being recognized. So, whether description take form of a word, picture, okay, of an individual, or the form of references to which he is believed to be a member. So basically, you don't have to have words as long as some description to actually show that they are referring to the plaintiff. Okay. Now, if in the circumstances the description is such that a person hearing or reading the alleged word would reasonably believe that plaintiff is being referred to, there will be sufficient reference to him. Now, reference to the plaintiff is obviously established if the plaintiff name is clearly stated, irrespective of whether the plaintiff had intention to defame the plaintiff or otherwise. Okay, can we look at this case, Hutton and Jones? A fiction was written concerning an Artemis Jones in Peckham. There was in fact a real Artemis Jones, the plaintiff, who is a lawyer in Peckham. So his friends thought that the story concerned about the plaintiff. Remember the case of Titanic? Okay, if you have watched the case of Titanic, it was shown in 1996 or 1997. It was shown a long time ago, but I'm sure some of you might have watched the movie. Now, if you remember, the name of that man in the Titanic was Jack Dawson. So what happened was there was actually a person by the name of Jack Dawson in the ship, in the Titanic ship, and people thought that that story is about that Jack Dawson, but in fact it was not. But we never know, it might be true. But as far as the newspaper, the news in the newspaper says that it was not the same person. It just happened that they have the same name. Yeah. Now, back to our case, Hutton and Jones, when the friends thought that that particular story or fiction concerning the lawyer, so basically there was a defamation. Now, in the other case of Newstead and London Express newspaper, there was a statement in the defendant's newspaper stated that Herald newspaper, 30 years old, Camberwell man was punished for bigamy. Okay. There were in fact two people by the same name, and the statement was true of one, but not of the others. It was not true for the plaintiff. So defendant was liable to the plaintiff. Yeah? As long as people believe that that refers to the plaintiff, it is sufficient to prove that the words are referred to the plaintiff. Okay, and the last element, okay, is the words must be published. What does it mean by words must be published? Publication means dissemination of defamatory words or materials to a third party other than the plaintiff. So basically, communicated to at least one person other than the plaintiff. Okay, so in practice, the statement is always in the form, not from, it should be form, in the form of words, but it can take any form which convey meanings, for example, a picture, cartoon, or statue. Okay. Look at this case, Dr. Jenny and S. Bhaktyanathan. Plaintiff was a psychologist who was working on a voluntary basis at the help center. Defendant wrote 2 letters indicating that plaintiff had committed breach of trust amounting to 70,000 ringgit, Malaysia. Copies of one of these letters were sent to all directors of the center, to the Director of Welfare Services of Perak, and to the Registrar Societies, Registrar Societies of Malaysia. So the court held that sending of copies to the said letter to the other parties constitute a publication. Okay. Persons who are not considered as a third party in establishing publication. Persons that come under these exceptions are communication between spouses. Okay. As husband and wife are regarded as one entity, meaning there was some communication, there was some discussion, okay, between husband and wife, and mere distributors such as delivery men are not considered as third party. But what about this case? Ticker and Richardson. Okay, Richardson, Defendant wrote a defamatory letter to the plaintiff, a married woman, and a fellow member of the local urban district council. So there were 2 letters, okay. One wrote to the plaintiff, another one, one letter, and the fact that that particular woman is a married woman and a fellow member of the local urban district council. Now, her husband read the letter, which was sealed in a manila envelope, similar to the kind used for distributing election addresses. Okay. Court of Appeal held that the publication exists since defendant delivered the letter to the plaintiff address. It would likely to be opened and read by the plaintiff. Now, how does this differ from this? Okay. Simple. Communication between spouses. Was there communication here? No. Yes, it was opened by the husband, but it was not communication. Okay. There was just a letter from outside, and there's a possibility that, when it comes to the houses, it would likely to be opened and read by the husband. So basically, there was publication. Okay. What are other relevance factors in establishing publication? Okay, language must be understood by third party. Language use, And then, plaintiff must be able to specify what exactly has been said or written by the defendant. So in this case, Hassan and another, and one Ishaq, it was held that it would be sufficient if the substance of the words alleged was proven, or at least the material defamatory portion of the word. Now, the third one, what about the other factors? The plaintiff must prove identity or identities of the person or persons to whom the defamatory materials are published. Okay. And then last one, if the words are repeated or copied, a new defamation arises. So better be careful. Okay. Sometimes students tend to copy and then tell about something else. Another person also copied, and then talk bad about somebody else, same person. Okay, they talk about bad thing about one person, assuming it was posted, and if you make copies, every time you make copy, you make new defamation cases. So generally, the first person who produces the defamatory material is also liable for subsequent publication. Okay. Now, what are the defenses for defamation? What are the defenses? There are about 6 defenses. The first one, consent, meaning plaintiff consented for the publication. Second one, justification. Okay. Defense of justification, or there was truth. Okay. If the defamatory statement is true, then the law will not protect the plaintiff. Okay. And the burden of proof is on the defendant to prove his allegation. Meaning the defendant must prove that it is true. Okay. And then the third defense is fair comment. Comment made honestly and fairly. Okay, there are 4 requirements. The word must be in the form of a comment and not a statement of fact. Comment must be based on true facts. Comment is fair and not malicious. Comment concern an issue of public interest. So there are 4 requirements. There are 4 requirements here. Okay. And then the first one is privilege. Section 12, subsection 1 of the Defamation Act says, the publication in a newspaper of any such report or other matter, as is mentioned in Part 1, shall be privileged unless publication is proved to be made with malice. Okay. And then absolute privilege, most of the time during parliamentary debates and proceedings. Basically, those statements made during those parliamentary debates and proceedings are not questionable in any court of law. Okay. This privilege stands even if the statements made is made maliciously. Okay. However, this privilege does not extend to the repetition of the same remark made outside. So whatever remark made during the parliamentary debates, if you make it outside, you repeat it outside, then you might be liable for defamation. Okay, the other defense is unintentional defamation. Basically, defendant unintentionally and innocently publishes defamatory material. And then the other defense is innocent dissemination of articles. So basically, those who participate in the publication did not know that they innocently disseminate libel statements. So basically, there are 3 requirements: that he was innocent, he did not know anything about the publication, there was nothing to prove. Okay. And then he did not know that it was contained libel, and article disseminated by him was not negligent on his part. And what are the factors taken into account when assessing damages? So basically, when the court trying to grant damage, normally they try to fulfill one of the 3 purposes. First one is to compensate feelings of distress and disappointment. Second one, to recover the injury to the plaintiff business and personal reputation. And lastly, to redeem the plaintiff reputation as a whole. So basically, you can read yourself case of Tan Sri Datuk Vincent Tan Chi Yun and Haji Hassan bin Hamzah. So that's all about defamation. I'm going to give you question on defamation. It will be clearer then. So thank you very much. Assalamualaikum.